right.
Cool.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm RJ. With me are Mike and JR, and our guest for today, Coach Nix. So,
Hi.
Coach, yeah, can you introduce, for those who don't know you yet, can you give us like a quick, like 2 minute intro?
2 minute intro. Okay, so hi, I'm Coach Nix. I'm currently the fitness manager for Anytime Fitness Panorama EDSA, which is in Buños. Used to manage several other AF branches and other brands before AF. So yeah,
That was
You,
shorter than two
well,
minutes.
right? Yeah, so that's you right now, but I know for a fact that you've had a pretty long like history when it comes to fitness and sports. So how did you sort of get started?
okay, that's a really long story. So it was with the family.
Yeah.
Right? So grew up in a fitness industry related family. My mom was one of the pioneers. Uh, Grew up in a gym, quite literally. Slept in the gym, and when we set up gyms for other people, moved there. Um, Started martial arts when I was 4, so that's my first introduction to the gym environment. And yeah, what else should I say? Took up
Martial art was
CrossFit.
that?
Sorry,
What martial art was that?
when I was 4. When I was 4, it was Taekwondo. Everybody took Taekwondo, right? So
Right.
then went to karate, then went to judo, then went to jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai.
Okay. And then you mentioned CrossFit also.
CrossFit, yeah. So I was introduced to CrossFit by you, RJ.
RJ apparently likes to do that to everyone.
He's the influencer here.
Yeah, right.
Not like the Instagram
No, no.
social media
The good
version
influencer, the good
of
one. the good one.
influencer. The-
Has he got you
The
into
old school.
kettlebells yet?
Yep. Yep.
That wasn't me though, right? That was Reg
Red.
that got you into kettlebells.
Nice, nice.
Same circle though. Same circle.
Okay.
So
So what I mean, aside from me sort of getting you into it, what like how did you get into it? Or like
oh,
once you got into it, what did you do? And like did you coach also?
yeah. So I got into CrossFit at CrossFit Insurrecto, tried it out, and then you know took my L1 there. The first time I think that it was posted there. Is that right?
I think so,
Uh,
yeah. I think that was the very first L1.
um. Oh, by the way, before I took up the L1, I was supposed to be the martial arts coordinator for Fit Promote. And then the owner really liked me and then asked me if I wanted to take a certification for CrossFit. So I did, and then I passed. And then he made me the head coach for the branch that he was opening inside Fishermall.
Right.
So I was the head coach there for 3 years before it closed down.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and we also opened CrossFit Boracay somewhere along the way.
Cool.
CrossFit Boracay?
Yeah, it was like
wow.
it was a project. It was a 1 year project.
1 year. This was pre-COVID, right? Or during COVID?
Yeah, definitely pre-COVID. That was
Pre-COVID.
2015, I think.
Okay, nice.
Well, you got to meet Klokov out of that project, right?
Did that was like the biggest thing, biggest CrossFit experience for me. Got to attend, although of course I didn't get a certificate because I didn't pay for it. But I got to attend his 3-day seminar at Boracay, at our gym, CrossFit Boracay. So
Nice.
lucky,
Nice.
lucky.
Cool. So that one, just to go like dive a little deep into that one. So that was Klokov's thing, right? That he would do weightlifting seminars at different gyms, or actually like exotic
Yeah,
places, right, around the
it
world.
was in partnership with Adventure Fit. Adventure Fit is a an Australian company, if I remember correctly, and they
Mm,
make like tours, and they had different coaches with them, and it just so happened that it was Klokov that time with I can't remember, but there was a female CrossFitter too, and yeah, they messaged us out of the blue because they saw the CrossFit affiliate map and they wanted to go to Boracay. And we're like, oh yeah, of course, definitely.
nice.
So I wasn't supposed to be the one there, but then the owner said, hey, why don't you go back to Boracay? I just came back from Boracay like a week ago, and then asked me to pack my things and go back to Boracay and attend the seminar. So I did. So lucky. Yeah.
Cool, cool.
Great. It was great. It was great. It's very different from how we usually teach our CrossFit weightlifting classes. So, because Klokov being a Russian, he's built differently. So he approaches things differently.
Right.
Hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not that familiar with how he teaches or how he does his weightlifting, other than like he's super bent over, like with his starting position with his snatch, right? That does he teach that, or is it just like he does it, but he doesn't, but he tells you that he's like a special case or something?
He teaches it, but the way he explains it is that uh, before he starts a seminar, he says, I'll teach you my weightlifting. So that
Right.
is weightlifting. So if you adapt it, then you learn something from his weightlifting.
Mm.
And weightlifting was what he was taught since he was 6, I think, if I remember correctly. He was in the stables with the other weightlifters, and then that's all he did until he grew up.
Wow. Okay. So,
So,
like he doesn't say that his style is like the style, or like has produced other
oh,
champions.
he's he's proud, but he doesn't say that. What he says though is he acknowledges that the CrossFit style of weightlifting is different because the goal is different. Weightlifting, his style is supposed to be 1 rep heaviest or 3 reps as three different weights. That's how he says it. And in CrossFit, you do 40 kilos or 50 kilos or 135 or whatever metric you use. But you do that many times.
Yes, yeah.
So he also recently, well, not recently, started the CrossLift brand. I think that's under him, or a gym, where he adapted his weightlifting for CrossFit purposes. And then recently he joined the Open, right?
Oh,
He's joined the Open. Yeah.
like this year?
Yeah, this year's open.
Oh, damn! I
Hmm.
didn't even know that. Cool.
He did.
Wow. I wonder how his wall walks went and double unders.
Seems horrible. That probably didn't go as well as he expected. I wouldn't put that in a weightlifter's wheelhouse.
Right.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that's pretty cool. So you got a kind of a little bit of a taste of both, like the CrossFit style of working out, and then you also kind of more recently have transitioned into, I guess, the more commercial, I guess, would be a
Yeah.
good
Term.
term for the anytime fitness style of
Yeah.
training.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest kind of difference is? Obviously, aside from the class-based
Mhm.
a class-based style of method of CrossFit, as opposed to like maybe more a one-on-one way with Anytime Fitness? What is the biggest kind of takeaway in terms of the difference of the two?
With anything, I always start with the community.
Yeah.
CrossFit community is, you know, anywhere you go, as long as you're a CrossFitter and you talk to another CrossFitter, you'd have something to talk about, right?
Yeah.
If you're an anytime,
Jiu-jitsu too, right?
yeah, same.
Yeah.
BJJ, right? Doesn't matter which school of BJJ you are in, but then
Yeah.
you to talk to somebody about the bow and arrow choke, and then somebody would have some input, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So same. It's not the same with Anytime Fitness, like
Right.
or any other big commercial gyms. They're just there to buy their memberships, and some of them do happen to buy personal training, but they're not there for that. Whereas in CrossFit, they're there to attend the foundations class, the boot camp,
Right.
then eventually join in the regular class. So,
Right.
um, although I am trying to build a community within our branch, it's still not the same as widespread as CrossFit as a brand.
Right.
Right. I guess it's also the nature of the gym itself. Like with big bucks, big commercial gyms, like you guys have super varied offerings, right? So
Yeah.
from
Right.
you also have like some classes, right? Also, but you can also do bodybuilding style, functional training. Yeah. So I guess that makes it a bit harder. At least you'll have maybe mini groups, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Mini communities.
Mini communities, yes, but especially recently with the pandemic and everything, it's really hard to build that same community. Although, as much as possible, you want everybody to interact with everybody, but
Right.
social distancing and then the cleaning, we have to close that down and then to clean. Yeah, it's not very nurturing of the community aspect right now. I guess soon, hopefully.
So how's it been like for Anytime Fitness during this whole COVID pandemic? I mean, obviously, like if you're looking in other countries, there are a bunch of gyms that are opening and then closing and then opening and closing. How's it been for you guys during like Manila's going on 1 year lockdown now?
Yeah, tough. It's been tough. Like, to say anything otherwise would be a lie.
Right.
So, it's been tough, but I'm happy that we're one of the better performing branches, but that doesn't say much about the brand.
Right.
For like the industry in general, right?
Yeah. So, we really just have to adjust, because if you don't, you close up shop.
Yeah.
Right.
So since March last year, when everybody closed down, when did you start opening again?
We soft opened November.
Oh, that's not too long ago.
Yeah, not too long ago. We were supposed to open March, which was funny.
Open. So meaning like this is a new branch.
The branch I'm in right now is new. Yes.
Okay.
That's interesting. That must have been an interesting opening.
Yeah, opening a gym in the pandemic. How was that?
Yeah, it was very tough. We were supposed to open March 28th.
Yep.
Lockdown was March 17. Well, it was announced 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And then everything closed down at 17. So we were basically, it was a blackout because we didn't know how to adjust, because we were just about to open. So we from pre-sale, we had so and so number of we met the numbers for opening. So we were supposed to open. And then, pandemic, more than 6 months, everybody didn't want to go anymore because everybody's afraid to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Understandable. And you can't tell them, no, you can't, you already paid for it. You have to continue. Right? You can't do that. So we had to start anew. November came in. We hit the numbers back again in January, so at least.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but then it's March again.
Right.
Not again for 15 days. So yeah.
Oh, so is that lockdown just for your area or QC? How is that working?
As, as far as I know, the QC government announced the lockdown,
Lockdown. Okay.
but
Mm.
Bulacan and Valenzuela also
Wow.
announced
Yeah.
their lockdowns. So I'm not
Oh,
sure how many are following. So it's gonna be difficult if everybody does it again.
yeah.
For the
So yeah. So how does that work when you guys are locking down? You don't charge memberships for like the amount of time
okay,
you're in
so
charge.
that's a great topic because
Yeah.
Anytime Fitness is a franchise,
Right.
so different management groups handle it differently.
Okay.
Yeah, so uh, we are an independent group, so
Right.
although we have to follow some guidelines, uh, we we have more space to play around with that.
Mm.
Right.
So right now, what we're doing is offering 3 months for those who continue.
Okay. Right. That's an interesting kind of dynamic in terms of how I guess Anytime Fitness works is they have a franchise model and then they have like a company owned they have company owned gyms as well. So that's interesting to hear they don't have like a blanket policy for all Anytime Fitness. It's just interesting, I guess, from that perspective. It's good in the sense that I guess individual owners are able to like react more quickly to, like QC, which is lockdown, you're able to kind of make decisions for your own gym
Yeah,
as opposed to like waiting for, national Anytime Fitness to kind of come in and say, okay, this is what happens.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, right now, I think the big franchise group owns roughly 70 to 90% of all the gyms,
Wow.
and
Whoa.
Yeah.
they bought out a lot of the independent ones
Mm.
during the pandemic because business was tough.
Right.
So
Mm.
bought them out. So they have to do with a big chain of command
Yeah.
and delays and the members waiting for the answer.
Mm.
Whereas we just go directly to AF Asia and we like, hey, we're gonna do this. Is that okay with you?
Right.
Okay, cool. Okay. So that's what we do. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
How are your clients' reactions to you offering them, oh, we'll give you a free month at the end of your contract?
um nobody's reacting negatively so far.
Oh, that's
But
good.
it's only been several days.
Right.
Mm.
So we wouldn't know, when March 31 arrives, or
Yeah.
hopefully not if April, it extends.
Mm.
But yeah, we had a good community coming in. So
Yeah.
like what I
That's
was
good.
saying, I was trying to weave towards the CrossFit community inside Anytime Fitness. So we're all
Right.
very close. So when we start messaging people, we're like, hey, so we're closed, but we hope to see you
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah,
They're all cool with that. So
Nice.
great.
that's good.
Yeah. I think like during the pandemic, people have been pretty good about, these kind of short notice lockdowns or changes in policy. Um, I think everywhere in the world, really, people are understanding like, yeah, maybe it's not worth kind of the additional risk of, you know, these things when it's affecting everyone, right? So
Just
I think that's kind of made it a little bit easier,
Mm.
which is, I guess, a good thing. But then at the same time, it's like, yeah, we kind of really just want to get back to normal life, right?
yeah, I think everybody does, right?
Yeah.
In all industries. So
So, well, I have a question for the opening in the lockdown because I know a lot of gym owners like the experience is that retaining retaining their current membership from the pre-pandemic was sort of like a no-brainer. It transitioned to online, rent out your equipment for home use and stuff like that. But how is it to grow a membership base when this thing's happening, right? When you have that fear of, yeah, like catching it outside, or yeah, in this case, in what happened, do taking up a membership, and then the government tells you you can't use it, right? So how, like, how is it going, selling fitness in this situation?
Okay.
Hard.
Yeah. In one word. But I mean, like, you still
Understand.
have, so I guess the you still have people looking for gyms and looking for fitness after all.
Yeah, but that's a small percentage. Really, the majority of the people that come in now are people who were pulled in by other people. So word of mouth, basically. So
Mhm.
we had a few members coming in. So we opened November. Numbers were down.
Hmm.
We were all like, "Hey, we have these safety officers, and we have these tests that you have to take, and then we have the alcohol bottles and all that, and we have people fogging the gym every now and then." So you can see sanitation inside the gym.
Right.
So we were like, if you want to bring people in, you just have to register, and then you have to do the health. What do you call that?
Protocol, the
Yeah,
form,
the
health
form,
form.
the QR code, and everything.
Yeah.
So you have to register, and then we let you experience the gym again. And usually that's where we convert people that, it is
Right.
safe inside the gym. It's just we can't promise you anything outside the gym. But
Right.
at least you know that if you're using the equipment inside the gym, you're not gonna suddenly contract anything. Right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I guess a lot of people were bent towards having some form of fitness again besides home workouts,
Right.
because I also did online workouts and it's really different.
Yep.
It's
Mhm.
so you could achieve your goals. It's different from having a workout buddy, for example,
Yes.
like somebody pushing you
Yes.
past you.
Yeah.
Right.
And the whole, of course, the whole face to face versus online, the difference between face to face and online, like
Yeah,
even
the angles,
the
for
meeting,
example,
right?
checking form in a camera, it's easy to say like, "Hey, you're correct," but then you can't see if the spine is neutral, if the knees are pushing out, if everything, if they're doing stuff.
Right.
Mm.
Whereas if you are in the gym, you could be walking around, and then you could really tell the client that, "Hey, I'm checking you, and I think you should stop because we have to correct this one first." And
Hmm.
they
Right.
appreciate that. They appreciate that, especially coming from the home workouts and the pandemic and everything.
Right.
Right.
Sorry. Just a quick backtrack. What were the current regulations for you guys before this new lockdown happened? Like, was there a capacity regulation? How did
Yeah,
that work for you
at
guys?
a capacity, we had a maximum of 30 members inside the gym.
Okay.
So we had to have booking. We
Right.
had an app where you could book what time you're coming in.
Yeah.
You usually book 1 hour, but you could extend to 2 hours if it's free.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
We didn't allow walk-ins back then until we found out that, hey, there are not a lot of people back in November. There are
Right.
not a lot of people. So if you do want to drop by and ask if there are people in the gym, if there's
That's okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
if
Mhm.
we're under capacity, go ahead. Uh,
Okay.
Nowadays, well, before the lockdown, we were about to get strict again because people are coming in and we're filling up. So
Yeah.
we were about to get strict with the booking again.
Yeah.
Right.
So by January, February, you're already filling up the 30% capacity.
The 30%, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think early March, we had like several hours at maximum capacity. So
Oh,
Okay.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends. Right?
Well,
Nobody.
from a business standpoint, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you had to tell people that they can't come in because you've reached capacity?
Oh yeah, that's difficult.
Oh damn.
Yeah, especially people who are inquiring
Yeah.
Yeah.
or people who came from abroad. From we had a
Oh,
drop in member because anytime is a passport membership, right?
Mm.
yeah.
Come in from a different country, come here, expect to use the gym.
Right.
They didn't know
Yeah.
the local ordinances and all the
Yeah.
safety things, right? So we had to tell him to come back tomorrow because you have to register. And right now we're full. But then you might want to check out maybe later in the night if we're not that full.
Right.
But of course, if you're not available that time, then you'd have to come back
Yeah.
another, which is difficult. But they understand because it's a pandemic.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever think about or doing online yourself, or yeah, for the gym?
Oh, for the gym. Right now it's not on the table because we are really focusing on bringing people into the gym.
Right, right,
'Cause
right.
right. So we have to bring people into the gym, but we have to adjust whatever happens. So if it does come to that, then we will move on to that path.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. So yeah, jumping to the other thing you said before. So you uh, had experience being a CrossFit trainer and managing a CrossFit gym, and also working in a commercial gym setting. So, um, like like do especially now in the commercial gym, like do you see like how like what beginners, because I know functional fitness has gotten more popular, right, with all of the influencers and social media. Do people in the commercial gym ask for specific training, or are they just, or do they know more now than before, or uh are they still like pretty much like what we were getting before with in terms of inquiries, like, oh, is weightlifting weights gonna make me bulky, right? All of the things that people were saying before. But are people more informed now, even in the commercial gym setting, or is it still sort of the same?
I guess you get more of both. You have people who
Right.
know more, and then you have, the saying that a brown belt is more dangerous than a black belt because
Right.
they know everything. But then when you see it, it's actually, oh, wait,
Right.
don't want to stop because they're going to say, hey, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah. So you also get those people in the gym. So we have people claiming to be CrossFitters, but,
Uh-oh.
not really the CrossFit brand. They
Right.
work out, cross training,
Yeah.
do some stuff in the gym, high intensity, and then you have to tell them off. I think you have to stop because do you want me to check your form?
Right.
If not, I think
Mm.
yeah. So you might want to move to lighter weights, and then they get offended. So
Right.
you really balance that.
Yeah.
So you get more of those now, I think, because in this new gym, there's more of that than what
Right.
in another in the other branch.
Right. I think like if you notice, even with some of the other chains, there's kind of a little bit of a shift to more of functional style training. Like literally they have dedicated areas for, the function. I keep we
Right.
keep
Yeah.
saying functional fitness, but the more kind of free weight, more like complex movement as
Yeah, yeah.
opposed to back in the days, it was, this machine, that machine, bicep
Mhm.
curls, kind of the bro lifting philosophy, right?
Yes, yes. Very much.
Turf,
What'd you say?
turf,
Yeah.
grass
Turf.
turf, turf area for like
Yeah.
sled pushes and stuff. Whereas
Yeah.
before it was just all dumbbells, machine weights, and maybe one barbell in the corner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
And
like
usually
your squat was the Smith machine, right? Like,
Yeah.
like that was kind of the philosophy before. I mean, nothing wrong with it, but it
Yeah.
just was a different kind of mindset in training, I guess,
Yeah, I think coming from people who were exposed to Generation Iron, or the fitness industry in the Philippines is a bit
Right.
late, and
Right.
they're introduced to it via the Arnold Schwarzenegger era kind of.
Right. The
Right.
bodybuilding kind of.
Right? So that's how a lot of people see the gym. I
Right.
think that's where
Mhm.
most of the miscommunication comes in. Uh,
Right.
yeah, but a lot of people are adjusting towards, a lot of people are looking for kettlebells, so that's a good thing, I guess.
Right.
Mhm.
And we had to procure more dumbbells because people are using dumbbells more, whereas people used to use only the machines.
Yes. Yeah.
There's also that one. So I guess that's a good thing. It's
Yeah.
just that you have to be more careful because more things can go wrong with free weights than
Right.
machines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Like I was actually walking by one, and when you looked inside compared to maybe like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when you would see a bunch of like machines just isolated exercising equipment, right? When you looked in now, it was like the turf area, and like RJ was saying, and then there would be like a couple echo bikes in there, and then even the treadmill is maybe the new curved treadmill, which is supposed to be better for running, for your running form, right? So I think, yeah, I think it might be the internet also. Like people are going online and seeing all these different styles of working out as well. Like you were saying with the kettlebells, um,
Mhm.
especially now with the lockdowns, people really are looking for like these compact like workout things that they can do, dumbbells, kettlebells. So I think it's been good. Although I do see your point where, yeah, now it's kind of, now you have to be a little bit more careful in terms of keeping an eye on people, like,
Yeah,
because they're literally throwing weight around, right?
quite literally. Yeah, yeah, and I guess it's nice just to see them explore it,
Right.
try it out, and then um as coaches, as people as coaches in the commercial gym, that's kind of your cue to come in, step in, maybe sell your PT.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It sounds
Mhm.
bad. That's how it is, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's that's their line of business. That's a personal training line of business.
Right.
So um, it just so happened that they have some interest in that form of workout, whereas before it was really, oh, I want to do a bench press, but I'm just going to use a chest press machine, and then
Right.
that's all I can do, and post in
Right.
front of the mirror, and for an
Right.
hour, right?
Right. And
So
well, I guess that also works better for personal training because
Yeah,
for any sport or activity that requires technique, right? Some training and technique. Pretty much one-on-one training would still be the best way to learn that skill, right?
yes.
So
Mhm.
So,
in
so
that way, it works well.
that's another thing that I experienced, where in CrossFit you'd have 12 students or maybe more. In the commercial gym, if you're equipped with weightlifting, for example, you could really spend the
right.
hour explaining how do you do your first pull, how do you get past the knee, how do you do your second pull, what is a triple extension. You could do all those stuff.
Right.
Whereas, before you're like, let's do 10 cleans. Let's go. Hey, you're doing it wrong, right?
Right.
Right. So it's easier now that way. But then it's also people are not willing to push as hard if they don't have other people working out with them,
Right.
Yeah.
right? So sometimes when you start introducing progressed workouts, they're gonna hang back and like, it's okay, coach, we can do something else.
Negotiate with you.
Right. Right.
It's one-on-one, and you're not afraid to negotiate because you paid for the session.
Right.
Right. So I'm just curious, for your PTs, what is the kind of hiring process? Are there like minimum requirements that they need to meet in terms of because again, we're talking now about like specific skill and technique training, right? Is there like a prerequisite in terms of, you know, this is the minimum set standard you need to have as a PT for a commercial gym, as opposed to like obviously with like CrossFit,
Mhm.
the barrier to entry is just getting your L1, right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
and then technically, kind of the rest of it, the good coaches will normally go out and search for that knowledge, right? But then a
Yeah.
lot of it also is kind of learn as you go. Is it
Yeah.
kind of the same in the commercial setting?
I can't say for the because commercial gym is really a
Right.
really huge
But yeah,
industry.
there's a bunch of different
Yeah,
companies and yeah.
so in our branch, I'm the one who does the hiring for the coaches.
Mm.
So my number one rule is no bro science. So you come in for the interview,
Right.
don't spout nonsense. When you do, you're out the door.
Right.
Right. So you explain what you know, basically.
Okay.
And whatever you don't know, we build on that.
Right.
So we're expecting you to be the best coach or the best salesman, or you don't have to be a physical therapist. You don't have to have some rehab under you.
Right.
But if you do, of course, it's a plus.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do hire fresh grads. We do hire um, people who have experience, but they all start at the same level. It's just up to
Right.
you if you progress faster.
Right.
And in our branch, we also have a weekly ICT intercoach training.
Right.
So it's like where in CrossFit you have the coaches who work out together.
Right.
In our branch, we also have that. So on the
Nice.
dead times,
Cool.
after lunch, usually because there aren't a lot of people after lunch, we work out together and then explore several different methods of training together.
Nice.
Then yeah, we learn from each other.
Do you think that's kind of a normal thing throughout all the Anytime Fitness, or do we just send everyone to your branch?
It wasn't normal. It wasn't normal. Hopefully, it becomes normal.
Right.
I'm not saying that I'm the pioneer of this kind of training, and it's just that I just so happen to come from CrossFit, and I'm more comfortable teaching this way.
Right.
So yeah, and the coaches who have experience, you can't say that they have to learn from me because I'm the head coach. I can't.
Right.
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 We explore whatever we can explore together, and then
Nice.
yeah, hopefully we become better. 1% better. That's my hashtag, by the way.
Nice. So for your other coaches, do you make sure that they can actually teach like proper form in like say the compound lifts? Because
yes.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Because like I've been to an Anytime before, and I've noticed some coaches who like they're teaching the squat, but they don't know how to do it properly, or like even the deadlift and all of that, and just like I'm here off to the side. I can't say anything. So
I understand. I understand your concern. And yes, there are coaches like that in other gyms. I started a 6-week program with the coaches that are in my gym at our gym. We basically did the 3 classical SBD: the squat, the bench, and the deadlifts.
nice.
And then we took turns coaching each other. And of course, I gave my point of view, and then they could give their point of view. And basically, after 6 weeks, everybody, even the beginner, got new PRs. And even the old ones got PRs. So I guess it's a good thing.
Mhm.
And we're following the PAP, Powerlifting Association of the Philippines' rules.
Mhm.
So if it passes them, it should be good SBD standards.
Right.
So there's
Yeah.
that. And
Nice.
we're also exploring weightlifting because we have a weightlifting platform, which is nice, which is not usual for an anytime fitness gym.
Mhm.
But we have UP weightlifting people coming into our gym, and they work out regularly. So it's best to have something like that than have them slam the plates wherever.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So
Sorry, are you guys on the ground floor? I'm just curious.
oh god, we're on the second floor. So right under us is the lobby for the building. So
Okay. How's that been working out for you guys? With the weightlifting guys coming around.
you can't drop weights from overhead. So
Right.
the one rule is just if you're gonna drop it under the hip. That's
Right.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
Good.
reasonable,
Really?
right? So, unless you're lifting 140 above, if you drop the weight, it's still gonna. But then it's under
Yeah.
because it's 140. Right?
Yeah.
So, and you also have like, so I guess weightlifting platform, and you also have a legit
Bumper Yes,
like a bumper plates.
bumper
Nice.
plate. We have Olympic weightlifting bars, not just regular bars.
Yeah.
So they're up to spec. They're 20 kilos per gram by the gram. So they're good.
How about a log bar or an axle bar?
We're thinking about it, but kind of hard.
I know what's in the mind of
I
JR.
was
Nice,
gonna say,
nice.
like, really?
I mean, I might have to visit if there is.
We currently don't have space for bigger equipment.
Right.
Because Anytime Fitness is supposed to be a boutique gym.
Right.
Supposed to be, but we're one of the bigger branches, if I'm correct. Though we did dedicate a space for the weightlifting platform ever since we
That's pretty
were
cool.
like maybe someday in the future, and now we do. So
Okay, that's interesting. Like, because that's kind of not the image you kind of get for Anytime Fitness, I guess, in terms of
Yeah.
like being a boutique gym. So what, like, for you guys, how big is your actual space?
without the bathroom space, I think we're about 400 to 500 square.
Well, that's still pretty.
Wow.
That's still pretty
Yeah.
sizable.
Big.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So we're kind of big for an
Yeah.
Anytime Fitness gym.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that we have a dedicated studio supposedly for group
Right.
classes.
Right.
Used
Mm.
because we can't have group classes.
Mm.
So
Right.
basically, we just end up doing our personal training sessions over there,
Mm,
and then still have a platform for people who would want to use barbells.
Mm.
Right.
yeah, that's interesting.
So from what you've been talking about, it seems like your coaching staff has a pretty solid background in strength sports or strength training.
Passionate.
Is it? Yeah. Is it just because of the coaching staff itself, or like is it really like the trend across all commercial gyms?
I think with the rise of Instagram and Instagram and TikTok, you have to offer something new.
Right.
Right. So, and a lot of people who come from commercial gyms don't usually see, a platform, or they don't usually see
Mm.
Right.
upper plates. And it's just that the batch of coaches that I have right now are very interested in powerlifting and in weightlifting. So
Right.
that's where we went.
Right.
I don't.
Well, you were the guy who also hired all of them, right?
I was gonna say.
Sort of like a pre-selected group.
But not all of them are. Not all of them wanted to start it. So
Right.
I had a female coach. she still works there. She's a registered physical therapist, and she didn't want to start strength training. So I was like, okay, we'll still have intercoach training that doesn't involve strength training, but then I'm just gonna run this program with people who want to do the strength training, right? So we had a 6-week program. Week 2, she started joining in, and then she hit her PR first week of March, and then she basically said, "Hey, I want to compete someday in the future." So that's
Nice.
good.
Cool. Okay. So I guess like it's like the staff culture that you're trying to build up, right? But do you see it as a growing trend across other commercial gyms, or is it or is it just something that you want to influence in the industry?
I definitely want to influence the industry towards, something other than what we're used to, which is not saying it's wrong, but the bodybuilding style, right?
Right.
So, because we don't want to be boxed into that idea that if you're a commercial gym, all you're gonna go do in a commercial gym is, build up your pecs and your
Yeah.
biceps. That's it,
Right.
right? Um, although there are a lot of coaches in other branches who have started the same trend of teaching weightlifting, for example, or powerlifting. It's just that I think in our branch, all the coaches are doing it, and members see it, and so the members are getting, it's kind of a normal thing, so they want to explore it too.
Right.
So hopefully, it does influence a lot of, non, how do you say it?
Newbies. Or not,
I don't
non-strength sport enthusiasts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So hopefully they start trying it out because there's nothing wrong in doing it.
Mhm.
Nice.
That's cool. Okay.
So in terms of like, obviously prior to COVID, group classes were kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
In terms of, I mean, all gyms in general, right? Had some form of group
Hmm.
class. What is it looking like for you guys coming back from COVID? Do you think that's gonna be like a quick return, or kind of a more drawn out kind of affair in terms of getting people together in one room?
I don't think people are going to be accepting group classes as a
Right.
normal thing yet.
Right.
Especially if we have to keep reminding them, hey, you can't bump into people, you can't.
Right.
And usually in a commercial gym, the most attended classes are dance classes,
Right.
Hmm.
HIIT classes, circuit classes, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
That requires a lot of space per se.
Right. Right.
And the more attendees you have, it just
Of course.
exponentially
Right.
increases. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's something that we'd be looking for, not looking forward to, but something we'd be expecting to happen
Later,
as normal.
much
Yeah.
later. Right.
Yeah, much
Oh.
later. Yeah.
Like if I'm noticing kind of the trend in the US, right? How a lot of gyms went outdoors. Are your locations able to do that or not really? Because I noticed like a lot of the commercial gyms are in locations like the mall, or like, you know what I mean, like a building where that's really not accessible.
Yeah.
Have you guys kind of explored the, maybe not space wise, but maybe taking your classes outdoors as well?
Right now it's not available for us,
Right.
for my branch, for our
Okay.
branch. But I do know of some branches that
That do an outdoor.
decks, and they could hold their group classes
Right.
there. But also in the Philippines, since we have a mall mentality where a lot of,
Right.
right, so all the businesses are near malls.
Mhm.
So it's either in a mall or near malls, right?
Right.
So, I don't think it's also nice to make people work out outside if you're not very sure that everybody around you
Is
are wearing face
right.
masks
Right.
or
Yeah.
wearing it properly at least.
Right.
Yeah. Good. Well, because kind of again backtracking, when we were looking to open almost the same time as you guys last March, before this whole COVID thing happened, we were in the planning stages already of ours. We kind of were thinking maybe it makes sense to do that. Like we had some access to outdoor areas, although they were close, but not necessarily like in the vicinity. I think that for us was something we were looking at. So um, again, it's one of those things where maybe better planning in terms of like space in the city might have served us a little bit better this year, this year and during this pandemic, right? So yeah, it's just interesting that we've kind of made it like the not just the gym industry, but kind of like the retail and restaurants have kind of gravitated towards these like super enclosed spaces where, when you're looking at other countries, like, the main street, it was a long ass main street and you had your restaurants and all those things down that main street. Yeah, it's just funny mentality. I think it's also tempered, like just because the way our country is, obviously it's a tropical country, like people want to be comfortable, right? So they gravitate to air conditioning
It's true.
and like, somewhere where everything is kind of within reach, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Also
it's
the
just
traffic, I think.
sorry.
Also the traffic, because
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right,
to have everything within arm's reach,
right,
basically.
right,
Um, Whereas if in other countries you'd say, oh, it's about a block away, you can just go there.
right,
Here in the Philippines, if it's like a block away, you're like, it's fine. I'll just go another day.
right. Plus, you don't want to show up there. You're kind of sweating your ass off because it's been so hot outside. Like it in other places, it's easy to say, "Oh, let's just walk over." Right? In the Philippines, it's like, "Oh my God, if we walk over, we're gonna be like drenched by the time we get to wherever we're going."
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's it. That's funny. I think it's just interesting that um obviously location plays a big part in how the pandemic has kind of affected, business and like your daily life in general. But um there was a lot of talk about, like, if you're outdoor it's usually safer, although, like, again, being in a tropical country, being outdoors is probably not an ideal solution to kind of your daily life, right? So yeah, it's just an interesting kind of look at where fitness kind of has been for us here. Like, obviously, again, if we're talking about comfort, it's air conditioning, it's access to a shower. Like most parks here don't have that, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
And parking,
Yep.
because
Yeah, and parking too.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's not a lot of outdoor parking in Manila, right? It's normally, indoor basement or built up parking. So yeah, that's difficult as well.
So so the QC gyms are closed for the next 2 weeks. Once they open, and I guess there will be that sort of factor of people, because this quarantine, this lockdown happened because there were news of two different gyms, right? That became like that were still operating when there were already people infected uh, in their gym. So, like, I guess people would be apprehensive,
Mhm.
understandably, going back. Um, are you guys like planning anything to like uh, make help these people, help the guys who want to come back or who are apprehensive to come back, get rid of their fear of this happening again?
Um, okay, from my side, which is the coach's side, it's really just implementing the rules that we already have, because
Right.
that's the best that we could do. We have the temperature check, we have the contact tracing, we have the sanitation and the fogging, and basically that's what we can do inside the gym. For the marketing side, of course they'll have their promos and whatever, but uh, the way we're approaching it is, if the community that we built before the lockdown, before this lockdown, is as solid as we think it is, when we come back, they'll still just keep pulling people in.
Right.
And
Right.
basically, that's who we want inside the gym. People who want to be inside the gym. We don't want to force people to join and then just pay monthly and not use the gym.
Right.
We want people to enroll and use the gym and get fitter, get healthier.
Right.
So yeah, like a solid base set of principles and procedures, right? It's better than uh, your fast cash strategies.
Yes.
Cool.
It happens, but
I think a lot of it too has just been bad information dissemination by like local governments and and the task force. I mean, like honestly, like for in our situation, right? We were planning on an opening, but there was almost zero guidance in terms of what requirements were. We were basically finding out like on a day-to-day basis, like, okay, so we can open, but wait, it's only this capacity, no this kind of class. What are the requirements for like sanitation? What are like I think a lot of it too has just been a lack of information coming out from whatever authority is supposed to be releasing those guidelines and those requirements, right? So I think it's made it especially difficult for the fitness industry because it seems like every time there's let's say a surge in COVID cases, the regulation has been kind of arbitrary in the sense where it's okay, we just feel like this is what makes sense, right? It's like, okay, we're gonna close the gyms, but the cinema's open.
yeah.
Like, I mean, like I guess the logic behind it seems to be a little bit questionable in terms of like, does that even make sense? Like, does it make sense to keep a gym closed, for the next, 2 weeks when people can go in and watch a movie, but maybe they're sitting like one seat apart, right?
Mm.
I think that's been kind of the frustration with most, if not all, like fitness industry guys, right? Can we do like if we're doing one-on-one physical training or personal training, how does that work? Are we 6 feet apart? Can I, you know what I mean? Like there's no like kind of overruling body that's saying, okay, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Like you have the task force, which is giving out this, but then local government can say something else. And then like your barangay can say something else. Like it's been pretty insane. Like it's just hard to kind of, I guess, look for a place where there's reliable information about what's going to happen. Like for us, we've been going back and forth for the past year. Like, okay, when do we plan to open? Are we going to open? Because like, especially for a CrossFit and a jiu-jitsu gym, that's all group class. Like I mean, the CrossFit's a little bit easier. You can kind of segregate in terms of area. Jiu-jitsu obviously is a contact sport. So we're looking, way later in terms of, kind of normal training. But even with CrossFit, it's like, okay, is that considered a group class? Is that considered are there certain guidelines for this? Like, do we have to build plexiglass for in between these certain areas? Like, there's almost zero information to be had about like what needs to happen for a business to open.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just insane. Like I just wish there was a clearer like direction. Like, hey, you need to do this and you can open, right? As opposed to well, depending on what happens and this and that. So it's just insane.
Yeah. I think the best that we can do though is come in with our best foot forward. Right. Because I know I totally understand the frustration, and it has been very frustrating even after we opened, where we're afraid that it just happened. We're gonna get a lockdown again, and
Right.
we don't know if it's gonna end in 15 days or if it's just a press release that it's gonna be 15 days.
Right.
Because operation expenses don't stop at the 15.
Exactly.
So it's hard to project, and you have to, because it's a business, right? It's hard to project forward if you don't know what's going to happen in a month's time, in 2 months' time, in a quarter, year. But like, if you can go above and beyond whatever bare minimum is, then it's going to be, you have more leeway to play around with the rules, right? If they said you have to clean once a day, if you clean 3 times a day, then they have nothing against you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, that's also how we're approaching stuff. It's just that, because of this thing that we're not capable of handling, it's not even our turf that gets infected, and then we have to adjust to it.
Right.
If we don't, we close up shop, basically, right? So
Yeah,
we just have to keep going.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it kind of sucks all around, right? So,
It's more of a burden to us, right?
Yeah.
To the private individuals, to private owners,
Right.
and but that's how it is. And although we want to say, hey, we deserve better, even if we do, if it's not coming,
Right.
just be hanging around, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it's kind of hard. It's hard.
Just wait until everybody's vaccinated.
Oh no, man. don't even get started on that. That's a whole different podcast, man. Yeah. I mean, again, it's hopefully people kind of understand that like everyone has to do their part, right? Like it's the same thing with any other business. If you want to dine out, if you want to kind of get to a more open, I don't want to say normal situation, but a more kind of open situation. I think people have to understand like you're going to have to sacrifice something to get something back, right? Like we can't all just, we can't all, like if we want to have a party or if we want to, meet at a bar, that just can't happen just because we feel like it, right? There's going to have to be guidelines. There's going to have to be things that we're going to have to give up. Maybe we're going to have to wear a mask, unless we're seated outside. Maybe there's going to have to be a plexiglass divider in between the tables. And I think a lot of it comes from just on your own, like act as if you have the virus. You know what I mean? Like be careful, try to minimize, I guess, your time. If everyone does that, we kind of get to a more normal faster, right?
Yeah. That's an interesting point of view, because the one you said, act like as if you had the virus.
Right.
Because basically that's how we approach ourselves right now as coaches.
Yeah.
Because if you as a person are afraid for other people to approach you because they might have the virus, then they are experiencing the same thing, right? And since our business is personal training, we really have to approach people, right?
Yeah.
And we have to be very careful who we approach and how we approach, and we have to watch them for a couple of minutes before we actually approach them. Because some people they're so afraid. We still have some people in the gym who are
Yeah.
so afraid of the virus, but they have to get some workout in because either the doctor told them to,
Right.
or boredom is gonna kill them. I don't know.
Right.
There are people who are really afraid, and then you have to approach them differently. Maybe you
Right.
approach from 6 feet away, 10 feet away, like wave first or something.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Right.
yeah, it's difficult, but it has to be like that right now.
Yeah. I
Exactly.
guess like yeah. Also like as a gym, as coaches and as coaches, like we're the ones who have to lead the community, like set the tone for everybody who's there. Because like if yeah, we're responsible for how everybody in there acts, right? So and also that yeah, being super careful about these things will reassure the members more that they're safer when they're with you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Any other uh, things that you wanna talk about? Like maybe if you have like advice to maybe some a guy there who's like interested in fitness but is like concerned about everything that's going on. Like what do you want to say to someone like that?
Okay. Um, ask first. Some people assume a lot of stuff, and
Right.
they're afraid to move because they assume stuff. So, for example,
Mhm.
um, the assumption is if you go out, you'll get the virus, which is not true. You'll get the
Right.
virus if you're in contact with somebody who has the virus.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, we have to eliminate the chances of contracting it by eliminating people, and not eliminating people who come in, but eliminating the chances of people who are positive to come into the gym.
Right.
Which is why we do the contact tracing, which is why we keep cleaning, because even if they're not yet positives, they could be carriers.
Right.
Mhm.
So we have to go the extra mile for us as business owners and operators. Um, but for people who just want to experience a gym again, ask first. Ask people who go to that gym. Ask the
Right.
coaches. Ask um, your brand ambassador, if you have a brand ambassador, membership consultant, or whatever you call them, how the gym is like.
Mhm.
Sit after that, and then if you feel safe enough, try it out.
Right.
Because if you don't try it out, you'll never know, and that's the harder part of it right now. Because a lot of people are just hiding out in their houses and waiting it out, which is not healthy.
Right.
Cool. All right. That was like the better part of an hour.
Right.
For anything that you guys want to add, Jr. Mike?
Um,
I just want to do jujitsu again, man. So
and I just want to see people again. That's it.
yeah.
You and me both. Yeah,
Uh,
we're all on the same.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think kind of the takeaway is just, um again, act like you have the virus. So
Yeah.
if we're all conscientious about making sure we're not spreading it, then hopefully we can kind of, get this under control as quickly as possible. Then we can all kind of get back to us at least maybe a semi-normal life. I think, especially for the Philippines, it's getting really difficult. I mean, I don't want to sound too woke or sound like it's a thing, but like mentally, people are feeling it now. You know what I mean? A year
Oh
in
yeah.
is a long time.
Yeah.
Like, um, a lot of people talk about COVID fatigue, and that's a real thing. Like, people are just it's at a point where people are just, um, kind of ready to just do whatever it takes just to get that kind of. I mean, humans are kind of a social species, right? We're not meant to to live by ourselves and whatnot in our own little bubble. You know what I mean? So I think that's something that we really have to consider. Like if everyone wants to get back to a normal thing, we really have to, like, to be honest, like I'm kind of in favor of a lockdown, but it needs to be a hard lockdown, right? It needs to be like, let's get this under control, 2 weeks, everybody stay at home, you know what I mean? I think that would help again, but then again, is it too late because people are so fatigued with this COVID thing mentally that they're like, F it, right? Like
And there has to be
it's hard. Yeah,
there has to be action while there's a lockdown,
exactly.
because a lot of people are just, we're locked down, and then what? It's not
Right,
like we're upping the
Mhm.
effort in contact tracing, or it's not like we're upping the effort in vaccination,
right.
right? So
Good
locking
point. Yep,
doesn't really do anything besides disrupt business, I think.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
In this case,
right.
so
Oh,
yeah, I'm also in favor of a lockdown if it means we're going to be able to
right,
it's better or vaccinate better, right?
right. Exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head. There needs to be an action if a lockdown happens, right? It can't just be an arbitrary, okay, you can't leave the house because and then there's no enforcement because everyone's gonna leave their house anyway, right? So it needs to be like people, I guess it's gonna hurt, but I think in the short term, it may actually be better in that
Yeah.
sense where maybe it'll help us rein in, all these new variants and all these new. I mean, I think in general, it's the science is still saying 14 days, right? So
Mhm.
14 days from um, incubation period from when you got in contact with the virus until you're supposed to show symptoms. So if we can really just lock down those 14 days, mitigate those 14 days, allow kind of people to, hey, if you have symptoms, contact this person. Maybe then that person can go visit as opposed to having you out in kind of out in the wild, right? Just walking around. So yeah, I mean, again, like nobody wants it, but I think like really for it to be effective, I think there has to be some sort of lockdown. And it doesn't make sense to lock down just 3 barangays in one city, right? I think like if it's Manila, I mean, just because how interconnected everything is, like if somebody lives here and works there, like I mean, I know like in my area, there was a couple of barangays down that locked down, like they did a complete lockdown, but then the security guard's still going home, right? So it's one of those things where I think just a better um, implementation of a lockdown probably makes sense, right? And again, like you were saying, there needs to be an end goal. Are we locking down to get
Mm.
more vaccinations? Are we locking down to figure out how to clear out like Makati Med is full? You know what I mean? St. Luke's is full. How to clear out those guys before we start moving? I think we know a lot more about this virus now than we did a year ago.
Mhm.
But again, it's just like it needs to be I guess a national kind of, I don't want to
Plan.
say national lockdown, but it needs to be a national um, effort, right? In terms
Yeah.
of trying to mitigate what's going on now. It's not going to work if it's just QC and just Makati and just or like or if it circles and it's Makati this week and QC this week. Like basically, it's just running around in a circle, right? So I mean, hopefully, I mean, on a positive note, I think health and fitness people are definitely more interested in it now than they were maybe you know a year ago before the pandemic, right? So
Mhm.
so hopefully we can, as people in the fitness industry and martial arts, kind of be that, like RJ was saying, that guide to get everybody moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And
Or
I guess from a personal and business standpoint, like even so, yeah, we're locking down, and then what? So I guess
Right.
also as a person, like we also can't just be locking down
Nothing.
and
Right.
just
Yeah.
tunganga,
Right.
right? What
Mm.
can you do even when there's
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
lockdown? Like, I guess that's a something for like homework for
Yeah,
everybody.
again, like it's all gonna end sometime, right? So hopefully, being in our
Soon.
industry, we're in the right position to be the positive influence when all of this kind of starts to wind down already, right? And again, it's just supporting our communities, whether it's at the gym or at home, because everybody needs it now, man. Like, uh, you know, it's not easy being a year in a studio apartment or like your one bedroom thing and you can't leave your house. So yeah, you just gotta stay positive, I guess.
Cool. So, for your positivity thoughts and other stuff online, where can we reach you, Nix?
Oh, all my other social media are done. So, you can just look for me on Facebook, Nix Quejada, basically.
Oh, we'll make sure send us the details and we'll make sure to put it in the description so that people can
Yeah.
kind of send you a message or
Sure.
reach out for help.
Yep. Be the motivation.
Right.
Just get me on a good day so that
Right. Nice.
All right. Cool. So, on that note, I guess we'll just wish everybody stay safe and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for coming, Coach Nix.
Thank you.
Thank-
Nice.
Thanks,
Thanks,
man.
Coach.
Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more episodes.